Good morning. Uh, Today we'll discuss a small part of the module third, which we left in the class. That part is nothing but the thin film mechanics. Now, as an example, say if I take the mirror what we use in our home, it is nothing but a thin glass, and the back side of the glass it is coated with silver. This is a small example of a thin film mechanics. So that means a very thin layer of silver is attached or it is coated onto the back side of the glass. As a result, the glass will become mirror. The glass will become as a will be acting as a mirror. Now, what is that thin layer? What are the thin silver layer? What we are attached is acting. It is nothing but acting like as an thin film. It is acting like a thin film. So now in the first module we have seen, we have taken an example of pressure sensor, a pressure sensor. So where we have taken in the class, we have taken a small demo where I take a paper, and if I keep that paper below fan, depending upon the pressure that experience, so that is nothing but the air. So the what is that air from the fan pushes the paper, and if the speed is high, the pushing of the paper is also very high. So the bending of the paper is also very high. So that example is nothing but the pressure sensor. So where what I need to do is I need to make the piezoresistor as a thin film, the piezoresistor as a thin film, and as a result, when the pressure fall onto the piezoresistor, there will be a change in the resistance, and that change in the resistance is converted into electrical voltage. As a result, the change in the voltage is nothing but the change in the pressure. Now that piezoresistor is made up of thin film material. The piezoresistor is made up of thin film material. Now this piezoresistor will experience the force, or will experience the pressure. Okay, so now what I need to do is I need to analyze what is the force or what is the pressure falling onto that thin film, or what is the force that is falling onto the piezoresistor. So if I do that, so that will be my thin film mechanics. So that will be my thin film mechanics. So now the latest technology is there is a thin film battery also. Thin film battery also coming into the picture. So we have thin film resistor, thin film photovoltaic cell, thin film battery. So in all the cases, the material will be thin, and if something force is acting on the thin film, what is that force? Whether thin film is capable of handling that pressure is very important for me. So for that, what I'll do is, so I'll be doing the thin film mechanics. I'll be doing the thin film mechanics. So now what will happen is, uh, so there'll be always a small deposit of thin film made on the various material. So made on the various material, maybe on the substrate or maybe on the other film also. There's a possibility of a small deposit of thin film made up of various material either on the substrate or maybe on the thin film. So now this thin film can be from submicrometer to few micrometer, and they're expected to carry the load in many cases. So they're expected to carry load in many cases. So as a result of this, so there is a stress falling onto the thin film, and my interest is to analyze the stress or to determine the stress that is falling on thin film. So now if I want to analyze the stress, that is nothing but the quantitative assessment of the stress in the thin film. The quantitative assessment of stress in thin film, it is not very easy. It is not very easy. Why? Because the material is very thin. The material is very thin, so it will be in the range of micrometer. So there is no direct equation. There is no direct equation to calculate what is the stress falling onto that film. So what I need to do is, for that, there is no quantitative assessment of stress in the thin film, which is available for the design analysis at the time for the following reason. So that means I cannot do the quantitative assessment of the stress in the thin film. For that, what I need to do is, now I need to develop some equation. In order to calculate the stress falling onto the thin film. Okay, so for that, say now, okay, so now the films are so thin that usual force, such as the molecular force, become a dominant force. So that means the material property itself is acting like a force, and which is the dominant force. And for that reason, so now there is no reliable way to assess such force. There is no method. So there is no reliable method, or there is no reliable way to assess such force. And at the same time, so there is another major force that induces stress in the thin film is the residual stress. Resulting from the fabrication process. So that means when I do the fabrication, there is a residual stress induced on the material during the fabrication process. So now there are two forces coming into picture. So one is the molecular force, which becomes the dominant, and second is the residual force in the thin film. So this is because of the residual stress resulting during the fabrication process. Now because of these two reasons, it is very difficult to assess the stress falling on thin film. So because of this, now so what I do is, I'll calculate. So this is an empirical formula to calculate the stress in the thin film. So the stress, the falling onto the thin film, it is nothing but sigma equal to sigma Th, sigma m, and sigma int. So what is that sigma? It is sigma Th, it is the thermal stress. Sigma m due to mechanical load. Sigma int, it is due to the intrinsic stress. Now these two are added. As a result, what I'll do is I'll get the total stress in the thin film. So this is an empirical formula to calculate the stress falling on the thin film. Okay, so very small part. So thin film mechanics. So they are nothing but they are the film usually in the order of sub-micrometer or to the few micrometer. So these films are nothing but a small film, usually a thin film in the order of submicrometer or few micrometer. And where they are used, so they are commonly used in MEMS and in microsystem fabrication to deposit thin film of variety material onto the surface of silicon substrate, onto the surface of silicon substrate. So as a result of this, now there is a stress falling onto this material, and as of time there is no reliable way to assess such force quantitatively at present time. Now, as a result, what we do is we are calculating the stress because of the because of the thermal stress, because of the mechanical load, and because of the intrinsic stress, and this we will add together and we will calculate what is the total stress. Okay, so it's an empirical formula to calculate the stress falling on the thin film. Okay, so this is about the thin film mechanics. In the examination, the question can be like write a note on thin film mechanics, maybe for some 4 mark or 6 mark. So under that condition, you have to write what is thin film and what is the two factor that is coming on the thin film. What is the factor that is coming on the thin film? So one is the residual stress and other one is the molecular force. So because of this, there is no reliable way to assess such force quantitatively. And what we do is, in order to calculate the total stress, we take the consideration of the thermal stress, the stress due to mechanical load, and the stress due to intrinsic property or the intrinsic stress. So this is about the thin film mechanics. And the last part of third module, it is the overview of finite element stress analysis. Finite element stress analysis. Now, why this is very important is, now, so in almost all MEMS and microsystem involve the complex three-dimensional geometry. Okay, so if I take any example of my MEMS or the microsystem, it is a three-dimensional geometry. So these devices are fabricated under severe thermal and mechanical condition, and they are subjected to harsh loading during operation. So that means there is a possibility of harsh operating condition. So they are subjected to harsh operation. So as a result of this, I need to calculate what is, if they are operated under harsh condition, what is the force acting on that, if so and so force is applied onto that, whether uh, any breakage will happen to that material, or any breakage will happen to that microsystem, or if they are subjected to high temperature, if there is any thermal breakdown, or whether they are subjected to thermal stress. So all these things I need to calculate, and for that, so there's a tool. So that tool is nothing but the finite element stress analysis. It is the finite element stress analysis. So here what I need to do is, I need to make a model. I'll take an example. I'll take an example, say Okay. Okay, so I'll take this example. So see here. So this is a connecting rod. This is a connecting rod. So that is used in the automobile. It is used in the automobile. Okay. So now they have done the finite element analysis of this. The finite element analysis of this. So you can see there's a blue color. There's a blue color, and somewhere here it is red, and somewhere here it is nearer to yellow color. So yellow color. So that means, so during the analysis, so this blue color indicates, so that means it is safe, and this red color indicates it's a danger. So that means when I fit this system, when I fit this part into the automobile system, this part it is subjected to more stress. It is subjected to more stress. As a result, during the long run of operation, this part may break. The red part may break. Similarly here also. So if you see here, the red part, this red part is saying that there's a more stress, falling on this, and maybe during the long run of operation, this part may break, or there's a possibility of crack happening on this part, and at the same time this part also, there's a possibility of crack during the long run of operation. So what I have done here is I have done a finite element analysis. I have done a finite element analysis of this part. So here what I need to do, I need to make a model. So first thing is, according to the actual structure, I need to make a model, and after making the model, see here, so this is a particular structure. Can you say this? The structure. Hello? Can you see this window?
Hello, sir. Yes,
Finite element analysis.
yes.
Yes. So now here, so they are doing the finite element analysis of a particular structure. So this see here, they have made a model. Say for example, if I am designing a chair, so first what I need to do is I need to make a model in the computer which is similar to chair. So that means I need to draw the chair. Okay. Now after drawing the chair, say if I want to make the chair with the help of wood, so now I need to select the material. So my chair material is wood, or I may select the steel also, or I may select iron also. So that means after making the design of the chair, next I want to design the material. So this material can be wood, can be steel, can be iron. Okay. So like that, so we have to do. And after that, so very important is to make this material into a small layers, so that you can see here. So the entire structure, it is broken into many parts. So you can see here there are many lines. So there are many lines. So that means they are doing the mesh analysis. So they are doing the mesh analysis. Okay, so first rule is in the finite element analysis is divide and conquer. So this entire structure, it is divided into small layer, a small layer, and they are joined together. So it is divided and they are conquered. Okay, so divide and conquered. So the first step in the finite element analysis is to divide the whole solid structure into a finite number of subdivision of special shapes. Okay, so what I'll be doing is I'll be dividing this structure into the finite number of subdivision of special shape. Okay, so that is the first step. So after that, it is subjected to particular force. They are subjected to particular force, and after applying the particular force, I'll get a clear indication saying that on this part where is the highest force acting and where is the lowest force acting. Okay, so here there's a map, you can see here there's an indication of the color. So now blue indicates it is the low stress and somewhere red indicates the high stress. So that means after making the model, after dividing the structure into small element, and if I apply the force, on this material, and if I analyze it, I'll get a graph in terms of the color saying that the blue one, it is the low stress area, and the red one, it is the high stress area, and somewhere green, it is medium. So that means here all this region, so this region, it is having the medium stress, and whereas this red region indicate it has the more stress. So on this area only the more stress is falling. So I need to concentrate on this area. So there is a possibility saying that this area, the material concentration may be less. Say if I am doing the thin film mechanics, on this area, if more force is acting, this area may break. There's a possibility of crack happening on this area. So I need to concentrate on this area. Or I need to make one more thin film onto this layer. I need to make deposit, or I need to put some other material onto this area. So that is nothing but the finite element analysis. So what is the use of this application? So use of this application is nothing but I can calculate the stress and strain. I can calculate what is the stress and strain falling onto the material. I can do the heat conduction analysis. So that means if this material is subjected to heat, on which area or which part or which area will get heated up more and which area will become cool more. So that I can do. So that will be heat conduction analysis. And finally, if something fluid is flowing on this material, if this material is something designed for the flow of fluid, they may be rectangular shape or the circular shape, which is designed for the flow of fluid, I can calculate what is the mass flow of fluid, at what rate the velocity of fluid flowing. So all that I can calculate. So this is nothing but the finite element analysis. So this will be my finite element analysis. So my main purpose is before designing the actual shape or before designing a particular material, I'll make a model I select the material, and I do a particular analysis. The particular analysis may be with respect to the calculating the stress or strain, or maybe with respect to the heat conduction or heat convection, heat radiation, or can be with respect to the flow of fluid, all this analysis can be done, and I can predict where more stress is falling, more strain is falling, which area get more heated, which area will become more cool, and at what velocity my fluid is flowing. So all that can be calculated in the computer only with the help of simulation. So that is the purpose of doing the finite element analysis. Okay, so that is the purpose of doing the finite element analysis. So the finite element method so it's an powerful tool in stress analysis of various MEMS and microsystem of complex geometry, loading and boundary conditions. So that means if my microsystem or MEMS, if it is the geometry is very complex, and if it is loaded for the various condition, I can calculate the stress analysis. Of that particular MEMS and microsystem. Okay, so now the commercial available FEM will include ANSYS, Abacus, IntelliSuits, MEMCAD. So these are the various FEM tool to calculate this stress analysis. So mechanical engineers, they will be doing the ANSYS tool. They will be doing the ANSYS tool to calculate the stress, the strain, the thermal analysis, then the fluid dynamics. So all that they will be doing with the help of ANSYS. Okay, so now the first step in the FEM analysis is to decentralize. So that means divide. So I'll divide the structure into a finite number of element. I'll divide the structure into finite number of element, and I'll interconnect all this divided element at the node. I'll connect all the divided element at the node. Okay, so then what I'll do is, then I'll be applying the quantum mechanics theories and principle applied to the individual element. It is applied to the individual element. So that means my whole structure, it is divided into finite element. It will divide into finite element. Then they are interconnected at nodes, and after that I'll be doing the quantum mechanics. I mean, sorry, the mechanics theories at the element layer, and whatever the result I got at the element layer are assembled to give the final overall structure result. So that means I'll apply the theory of mechanics to the element, then whatever the result I got from the element, on the element, they are assembled to give the result of overall structure. Okay, so to the overall structure. So see, we have seen so here if I see, So now this whole structure, it is divided into element, finite number of element. Then I apply the theory of mechanics. So if my analysis is on the stress, if I want to calculate the stress falling on this material, I'll apply the theories of mechanics. I'll apply the theory of mechanics, and I'll calculate what is the stress on this element, what is the stress on this element, this element, and this overall how many number of element I have divided. On each element, I'll calculate the stress analysis, and after calculating the stress analysis, I'll calculate the total result. This total result will be in this form. The total result will be in this form, in the sense now the blue area is safe and the red area is danger. So that means after a long time of use, this area may break. This particular area may break. So this is the finite element analysis. Okay, so the important is, it is division, it is the divide into element interconnected at node. After that, I'll apply the theories, mechanics theories at the element level, and all the results are assembled to give the overall structure result. Okay, so now what I can do? So what I can do in the FEM analysis, I can do the stress analysis, I can do the stress analysis, stress and strain analysis, heat conduction analysis, and fluid dynamics. So that means what is the stress? What is the stress falling on a particular area, or what is the strain happening at a particular area? At what rate the heat conduction is happening? And at what rate the fluid is flowing, at what velocity the fluid is flowing. So all that analysis, it can be done with the help of finite element analysis. Okay, so now what are the input I need to give into the FEM? So I need to give the general information. So the general information, in the sense, I need to define what is the structure. of the geometry. So as I said an example, if I want to calculate a chair, say if I want to design a chair, okay, so say a chair made up of wood, whether a person with 100 kg, with a weight of 100 kg, can he sit in that particular chair? Okay, so if I want to design a particular chair, so which is capable of handling 100 kg of weight. Okay, so under that condition, what I need to do is, I need to make a model of the chair made up of particular wood. Then I'll apply 100 kg load onto that, and if I apply 100 kg load onto that, and I'll calculate maybe at the leg of the chair, whether that whatever the stress I got, whether that is sufficient, or whether the more than 100 kg is applied, whether that leg will break. So that I need to calculate. So for that, what I'll do is, I'll define the profile geometry. Then I'll establish the coordinate. Maybe XY coordinate or XYZ coordinate. So all that I'll develop. Then third step is decentralizing. So that means dividing the structure into element, and that element are interconnected at node. So after that, I need to select the material property. Okay, so first step in the FEM analysis is to give the general information. Like the geometry, structure geometry, then establishing the coordinate. Second, it is the decentralizing, discretizing the structure. So that means breaking the structure into small element, then giving the material property. So material property in the sense, if I doing the stress analysis, I need to give the Young's modulus, then Poisson ratio, what is the yield strength, what is the ultimate strength. All this property I need to give, I need to load into the software. Then if it is heat conduction analysis, I need to take what is the mass density, what is the thermal conductivity, what is the specific heat, what is the coefficient of linear thermal expansion, alpha. All this input I need to give. If my analysis with respect to stress analysis, I need to give the input Young's modulus. It is constant, right? So we know it is constant for various material. Then again Poisson ratio, it is constant. Yield strength, it is constant. It will depend upon the material. Ultimate strength, again it will depend upon the material. All this constant, I need to give it to the software. Similarly, if my analysis is heat conduction, so what I need to do is I need to give mass density, the thermal conductivity, specific heat, coefficient of linear thermal expansion. So all this input I should specify in my software. Okay, so then I need to give the boundary and loading condition. So boundary and loading condition in the sense, how should be my boundary, whether it is circular, whether it is circular or it is perfectly rectangular or whether it is oval shape. So all that condition I need to give. So the boundary and loading condition. So for example, in the stress analysis, so it is the displacement, say particular displacement along xy direction, x direction, or along the y direction. So if my displacement is happening along x direction or y direction or along the z direction, so that input I need to give. So after that, so what is the output from this FEM? If the analysis is stress analysis, if the analysis is stress analysis, then under that condition, what is the output I get from the finite element analysis? So what I'll get is, I'll get the displacement. If so and so force is happening, it is falling on a particular material, say so much force is happening is falling on the material, say force of 10 Newton, is falling on x direction. Then what is the displacement at x direction? So because of 10 Newton of force, my material or my particular device may move to 1 centimeter. So I'll get a displacement. Then I'll get the stress and strain of each element. That can be a normal stress in the x, y, z direction, can be shear stress, and can be normal and shear strain component. Where is the maximum stress happening? Where is the minimum stress happening? So all these things I'll get. So these are all the output. So these are the output in the FEM if my analysis is stress analysis. My analysis is stress analysis. I'll get the displacement, I'll get stress in each element, then I'll get the stress in x, y, z direction. I may get shear stress in xy, xz and yz plane. I'll get where is the maximum stress happening, where is the minimum stress happening. All this information I'll get as an output from the FEM analysis. Okay, so this is regarding the FEM analysis. So in the examination, if they ask, write a note on FEM analysis or give an overview of finite element stress analysis, then you have to start from here. What is the why FEM is used? Is a powerful tool in the stress analysis of MEMS. Then which are the common tool available? It may be an ANSYS, Abacus, IntelliSource, MEMCARD. Then how FEM is done. Then what are the analysis that I can do in FEM? It can be stress and strain analysis, heat conduction analysis, fluid dynamics. Then what are the input I need to give, like the general information, then develop FE mesh, then I need to give the material property. If it is stress analysis, what are the input I need to give? If it is heat conduction analysis, what are the input I need to give? Then what are the boundary condition I need to give? Then what is the output from FEM analysis? The output can be in terms of the displacement, can be in terms of the minimum and maximum stress, or normal stress along X, Y, Z direction, or can be shear stress along X, Y, YZ and YZ direction. So these are the output from FEM analysis. Any doubt here? Any doubt?
No, sir.
Yes, one is the thin film mechanics. Okay,
No,
so thin
sir.
film mechanics, we have seen the example as a mirror. On the back side of the glass, a very thin layer of the silver is coated. As a result, my glass will become mirror. So now that thin coating of the silver is nothing but a thin film mechanics. So now if something force is acting on that thin film, so I need to do the analysis. So that analysis is nothing but the thin film mechanics. It is nothing but the thin film mechanics. And what is the stress falling onto that material we have seen? Okay, so maybe because of the intrinsic property of the material, maybe during the fabrication process, there's a stress falling onto that material. So next we have seen the finite element analysis. So this is a powerful tool for the analysis of stress, strain, heat conduction, fluid dynamics. Okay, so it is not only related to that, we can do the FEM analysis for our electronic device also. Say for example, I want to design a particular electronic module, and if I give, say, for example, say if I am designing a motor, and if I give so and so current, now because of the current flowing, there's an electromagnetic field generated. Now where is the maximum electric field generated? Where is the minimum electric field generated? So that I can also design. Similarly, say if I am designing a capacitor, with so and so dimension, with so and so dielectric material, what is the electrostatic force happening between the two electrode? That also I can design. Where is the maximum electrostatic stress happening, whether at the center, whether at the bottom of the electrode, whether it is at the center of the electrode. So that also I can design. So that is with respect to the electronic part, electric or electronic part. Okay, so here what we have done is the stress analysis only for the mechanical part. So it can be with respect to the stress, strain, displacement. So this one more topic is remaining in the third module. So that is nothing but the design of accelerometer. The design of accelerometer. So that we'll discuss in next class. Any doubt here? So no doubt we'll end this class. If you have any doubt, you can clarify. Okay, we'll stop here. Thank you. Thank you.